I have just got to tell you about the latest Robert Kennedy Jr. thing. Jesus Christ. I mean, this guy, he can't be this bizarre, but apparently he is. Now, as you know, his independent White House campaign is down the shitter. It's gone. He's now sworn allegiance to Donald Trump. But these bizarre stories of his handling of the carcasses of wild animals hasn't gotten similar suspension. This guy's fucking crazy. I mean, it really is. Here's the latest. There is an environmental group. Which one is it? Anyways, calling for a federal investigation into Kennedy Jr. for an episode in which he allegedly sawed off the head of a washed-up whale with a chainsaw and then drove home with the head strapped to his car's roof. Is this real? And now, this parallels another extraordinary, insane tale reported earlier this month in which Kennedy confessed to dumping a dead bear cub in Central Park in New York and then attempting to make it look like the animal was killed by a bicyclist. How do you do that? Oh, Christ. But this latest revelation, sawing off the head of a dead whale, is not particularly new. This is not a new thing. It comes from an interview 10 years ago with Kennedy's daughter. Kick is her nickname. It's an interview she gave to Town & Country magazine, and she talks about a visit to other family members at their compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. But the story, which is when allegedly it happened, but the story's reemergence now follows the bear tail and other off-the-wall shit, including claims that part of Kennedy Jr.'s brain was eaten by worms and that he had an apparent fondness for barbecued dog. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, and this is Trump. Well, of course, this is Trump's big supporter now, right? RFK Jr. is going to assist in the transition from Trump, the fucking criminal, to Trump, the next president. Yeah. Okay. The environmentalist group, who is really getting its bowels in an uproar about this, and who can blame them, is the Center for Biological Diversity Action Fund. And this group previously denounced Kennedy's candidacy when he was running on, his own campaign, and endorsed Kamala Harris for president. So in a letter to NOAA, National Organization Atmospheric Administration, this week, the organization's government affairs director and chief political strategist demanded an inquiry. I'm talking about the Center for Biological Diversity. This is what the guy said. Brett Hartle is his name. Quote, Mr. Kennedy's apparent transport of the marine mammal skull from Massachusetts to New York, and therefore across state lines, also represented a felony violation of the Lacey Act, one of the earliest wildlife conservation laws enacted by the United States in 1900. And end quote. And Mr. Hartle also added that it was illegal to possess part of any animal protected by the Endangered Species Act. He added this, quote, normally, an unverified anecdote would not provide sufficient evidence as a basis for conducting an investigation. However, the bear story made it seem like this was normal behavior for him. So he may also possess additional illegally collected wildlife parts. Jesus fucking Christ. Now, Kennedy's campaign press office, when they were questioned about this, they didn't respond. And NOAA has yet to publicly acknowledge receipt of this letter from the Center for Biological Diversity. And this recounting of this sawing off the head of a whale by Kik Kennedy, who is granddaughter of Robert Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s father. The recounting by Kik Kennedy remains the only documented account of the whale incident. She described her father's fascination. This is RFK Jr. is her old man. And back when the story first appeared in Town and Country, she described her father's fascination with animal skulls and skeletons as, quote, eccentric environmentalism, end quote. And Kik Kennedy tells how the whale washed up on a beach near Hyannisport, and RFK Jr. ran to the scene. This is what she said, quote, he ran down to the beach with a chainsaw, cut off the whale's head, and then bungee corded it to the roof of the family minivan for the 5-hour haul back to Mount Kisco, New York. Every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car, and it was the rankest thing on the planet. We all had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out, and people on the highway were giving us the finger, and that was just a normal day stuff for us. What the fuck? I mean, what would you do if you were driving down, I don't know, the New Jersey Turnpike, Massachusetts, you're driving down the road and a car goes by and you look, hey, look, Mom, there's Robert Kennedy. What the fuck is up on the top? Wait a minute. They all have plastic bags on their head? Jesus. You can't make this up, can you? This is like a movie script for the most ridiculously, obscenely stupid, half-assed film ever made. But it's not that. This is reality. This is RFK Jr., who has now been absorbed into the MAGA insanity. Well, it figures. I mean, this is where RFK Jr. truly belongs. He's home, right where he belongs.
Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.